Indiana conservation officers are part of a long tradition protecting Indiana's natural resources. The first fish and game laws introduced in Indiana in 1849. 1911 saw the creation of 37 game wardens in Indiana. The wardens were paid $75 per month, and within their first month were averaging 55 arrests each, a national record. In 1939, game wardens officially became Indiana conservation officers, and 2 years later were given full police power. Today, there are 214 Indiana conservation officers enforcing federal, state, and local laws and are the thin green line protecting Indiana's natural resources. The Division of Law Enforcement works with all divisions of the Department of Natural Resources, enforcing their laws and regulations and working together as part of the DNR family. ICOs are specifically charged with enforcing the laws of the DNR and spend much of their time working with the Division of Fish and Wildlife, checking fishing license, working with hunters and trappers, and protecting non-game and endangered wildlife are daily responsibilities for Indiana conservation officers and are primary draws for many recruits. In addition to wildlife enforcement, Indiana conservation officers work with the Division of State Parks and Reservoirs to enforce boating regulations and provide a law enforcement presence in the parks to ensure a safe and fun time for all visitors. Conservation officers also work with the Division of Forestry to inspect active logging operations and to investigate cases of timber theft on public and private land. Historical resources also fall under the supervision of the DNR within the Division of Historic Preservation and Archaeology and are likewise protected by Indiana conservation officers. Protecting Indiana's water resources with the Division of Water also falls under the responsibilities of Indiana conservation officers, whether that is checking for permits for construction in a floodplain or investigating the contamination of groundwater, checking licenses, permits, and operations of water well drillers. Enforcing the rules of the road for off-road vehicles and snowmobiles also falls under the wide-ranging duties of an Indiana conservation officer. Along with law enforcement, education and working with the public is a large portion of the work of an Indiana conservation officer. Whether it's a hunter education course, boater education, or life jacket promotion, snowmobile or ATV training, or just being available for the public at events like the Indiana State Fair or the Hoosier Outdoor Experience, Indiana conservation officers are called to serve and work with the public often. In addition to enforcing the rules and regulations of the many divisions of the DNR, Indiana conservation officers also perform special duties and services, including swift water rescue, canine units, and search and rescue, cave rescue, and scuba operations. Finally, Indiana conservation officers are sworn law enforcement officers with full police powers. They work with federal, state, and local agencies to enforce Indiana state laws and the regulations of the United States Fish and Wildlife Service. The duties of an Indiana conservation officer are wide-ranging. They protect our natural and historical resources, work with the public, and enforce the laws of the Department of Natural Resources. The men and women of the Division of Law Enforcement are proud to carry on the tradition of the thin green line.